The Merriam-Webster Dictionary gives this as a definition of the word business. In fact, it is the first of the definitions for the word business. A usually commercial or mercantile activity engaged in as a means of livelihood. Last time I checked, AEW is first and foremost a business. Can we all agree on that? Freaking hope we could. We also know that basic goals of business include making a profit, increasing market share, ensuring long-term stability and growth with your business. Basic stuff, right? Until you get into like the corporate world and it becomes an obsession with manipulating the stock price so that way you can maximize shareholder value and returns and crappy business models like that. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary also uses one of the following definitions for the word promote: to present something for buyer acceptance through advertising, publicity, or discounting. Okay? AEW is a wrestling company, and you so often hear it called and referred to as with other companies over the years, including WWE, a wrestling promotion. And in the case of AEW, to me so often, way too much emphasis on the first word there, wrestling, not nearly enough on the second word, which is so vitally important, promotion. And that is one of my biggest consistent criticisms of AEW since their birth, their official birth in October of 2019, is how they expect their fans to do the work for them. AEW does a terrible job, a lot, of not properly introducing us to wrestlers, not telling us who they are, why they're a big deal, why we should care. Sometimes they do it, but many times they don't. Especially when it's guys coming in for like a random sporadic appearance. In those instances, they do a terrible job. And especially with a roster that is bloated as it is and full of the same type of talents, what makes this guy or gal unique, different, interesting? Why in the hell should I or anybody else as a fan, as a customer, give a crap? And to me, this manifest in an earlier Tony Khan tweet talking about Kenny Omega versus El Hijo del Vikingo, or however the heck you say it. I apologize, I think I butchered it. But Omega versus El Hijo, calling it a dream match. And of course, we know Tony Khan is going to over-exaggerate things. Just like, frankly, WWE does. Like, you know, every year you tune into WrestleMania, the next night on Raw, they're going to be sitting there lying their asses off, telling you how it's the greatest WrestleMania of all time. And at some point in time, that shit loses its luster and appeal, and it doesn't work. It becomes a diminishing return. Because you can't always say that shit and expect people to take you seriously. But we know Tony Khan, what he's doing. But who the hell is this El Hijo guy? What makes this a dream match? Is there personal history between him and Omega? Have they been compared to each other? Who the fuck is he? Is there a story here? Why the hell should I care? Why the hell should the viewers care? Just saying it's a dream matchup doesn't make it so. Dream matches, at least from my perspective, consist of matchups where all of the fans know the talent and to some level, shape, or form are interested in, want to see a matchup between the two of them. You go back in the day, Flair versus Hogan was absolutely a dream matchup in the 80s and early 90s before you finally got it in WCW. We know for years, and it was certainly helped along by the internet, The Undertaker versus Sting, especially at WrestleMania, that was absolutely a dream matchup. I could use so many other examples. I'll use another relatively recent one. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus CM Punk, especially when they were doing the interview for the video game. What was that, WWE 2K 2013, something like that? Like, people were foaming at the mouth for that shit. They wanted to see Austin versus Punk. Flair, Hogan, Taker, Sting, Austin, Punk. Dream matches. People actually know who the hell these guys are. And they care about them. Calling something a dream match doesn't make it so, especially when you don't show us why it actually should be. And that's the problem here. Is AEW should be making fans care, not making them have to do their own goddamn research. And of course, here's where the AEW cult goes out of their freaking minds, breaking out all types of terrible arguments and false equivalencies instead of acknowledging the valid points that are being made here. To the whole notion of, you have the internet, do your research. No, how about AEW does its fucking job? They are a wrestling promotion. Promotion. How about they market and advertise and promote their shit? Sometimes they're so incompetent and bad at it that I think Dixie Carter was better at that shit. And that's saying something. To sit there and tell fans to just Google it and that'll solve it. That's not the point. You're missing the point. The point is that is Tony Khan's damn job to do. That is AEW's damn job to do. It is their responsibility to make the fans care. You're not right. It doesn't matter what type of argument you want to make there about, well, you should just Google it. You could just look it up. The internet is free. You can find clips on YouTube. They have all this television time. Do their damn job. Tell the story. Make the fans interested. Make them care. I've seen multiple comparisons to WWE announcing that Cody Rhodes is going to take on Kaiser or somebody on SmackDown next week. Or whatever. Fuck. And they're talking about it and saying that, well, how come they're not promoting this? How about they're not? You talk about a false equivalency. If you can't see the difference between putting in, and of all things, I'm using Cody Rhodes as a defense mechanism here. That's really weird, isn't it? But you cannot compare the two scenarios here. Calling something a dream match versus putting somebody in a match who happened to be a Royal Rumble winner against somebody on SmackDown. It's not the fucking same. It doesn't make your point. It makes your point look stupid. I saw somebody allude to, all this stuff about the internet, all those CM Punk rumors and how they were driven on the internet to the point where fans were foaming at the mouth when he finally debuted. And who do you think started those damn rumors? If you think it was anybody other than Tony Khan, you're a clown. Every rumor that comes out involving professional wrestling is put out by professional wrestling. That's fact. Every single rumor is put out by somebody within professional wrestling. Could be wrestlers, talent, agents, promoters. All of it has a purpose. All of it has an aim and goal. So even using like that false equivalency with Punk, it's just, again, it makes the point here that the AEW cult is really, really, really bad at making counter arguments. I saw another post talking about when Brock Lesnar debuted on the Raw after WrestleMania back in 2002. And talking about, who's this guy? Why are you supposed to care? That whole fucking point when he interrupted that Triple Threat Hardcore match. That was to introduce him, you dumbasses. But what did they do? They associated with somebody that the fans didn't know already, in Paul fucking Heyman. And they spent the next several months making you care about the next big thing, Brock Lesnar. Even when you go back and watch that fucking segment, you've got JR talking about how this is the hottest free agent in wrestling. They're planting the seeds right there. But what they're not doing is they're not pointing to that and calling it a fucking dream match. You dorks. It's not the customer's job to find a reason to care. If the customer has to find a reason to care, then the business, the promotion, is doing a terrible job of appealing to their customer. It is the company's job to make the customer care, not vice damn versa. Never forget that wrestling is ultimately about storytelling. It's a morality play. You're in the storytelling business, not just in the matches and moves and flips and kicks business. The matches are one part of the story, but it is still about storytelling. It has never changed. It will never change. And the more you embrace the storytelling aspects, the better your product is. And by the way, the more invested your current customers become, and you have the potential to draw in new customers, which is the ultimate goal of a business. It's to grow and make as much money as possible. It's not just to appeal solely to the customers that you already fucking have. How stupid is that? You want to create a long-term sustainable business model, but any business worth its weight in anything wants to grow, make more money, grow its market share, grow its scale and scope. Anybody that runs a business and doesn't want to do those things typically won't be in business for very fucking long unless they are kind of a unique one-off mom and pop type of shop. And you have those operations where it works, and that's fine for them. But that's not what AEW is here. You want to call it a dream matchup, but then only give it a few days to promote it. That's not how you would even promote or build up a dream match. So Tony Khan and AEW can't even get that right. But at the end of the day, it is a wrestling promotion. So promote. Like I saw my friend, It's Just Alex on Twitter. You should follow him, even though he's dorky sometimes. You know, his response to people questioning why this would be called a dream match, he actually showed a clip of El Hijo. Now, I've seen the clip. It makes me even less interested in seeing the match between him and Omega on Dynamite next week. But he did a better job of responding to the criticism by actually putting out something to illustrate why he is interested in seeing that match. And yet AEW can't fucking do that on their flagship show, Dynamite. Sell! It's the name of the game. It's a wrestling promotion. Sell! Shouldn't you have to require other fans to try and sell somebody, which they can't even fucking do. The AEW cult's more worried about defending their ultimate hero, Tony Khan, instead of even actually selling the point of why El Hijo versus Omega is a freaking dream match, so they lost the plot too. But ultimately, it's AEW's job to make fans care, not to do research. When you come back and say, well, Google is your friend, I'd say, well, they've got all this television time, this massive social media platform. How about they do a better job of utilizing it and do their fucking job? How about that?